Alrighty, we are here for the thirsty episode 21 of the Predcast. Welcome everybody for showing up on this. If you're live or if you're watching the YouTube version, appreciate you all stopping by. I hope you guys enjoy it. We have a great cast again today. If you ain't recognized us from the last episode, so again, we'll quickly go through who we are. We'll start with the list the way it is. We got Pinzo, then we got Joe, we got myself. So go ahead and introduce you guys yourself. Let them know where they can find you and what you got going on.
I'm Pinzo. You guys can find me twitch.tv/Pinzo, YouTube/Pinzo, Twitter/Pinzo, all that kind of jazz. I stream pretty much every day, YouTube content every day. Just kind of vibing, waiting for something to happen in Pred a little bit. So we're just kind of hanging out. You guys are welcome to come hang out as well. I stream like daytime hours, so you guys can catch me then.
I wish I could do it. I don't have the job to allow me to stream daytime out.
It's nice. I like it.
Yeah, I feel like the numbers are better there, but I'm not able to do it. Anyways, Joe?
Yeah. Hey everyone, so this is Joe Shirley. I'm just a personal content creator over on YouTube. I do daily kind of videos over there. I try occasionally stream. I also have a Twitter page, so I kind of interact with other people or post really cool clips there. So yeah, you guys probably see me around, so go check me out if you're not already.
All right. So with your name, Joe, when you did the name change, if I first saw your name, it was always Joey, right? Mm-hmm. And then you named your name to Joe, and I still see it as Joey. And I first read your name when you first changed it. I'm like, Joey, ours truly. Like, I guess. I'm like, all right. I'm like, no, I think that's what Joe, yours truly. All right, my bad. That's what it is. But yeah, your name's always Joey to me. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to switch up and start calling you Joe.
So my name always have the Joe part in it kind of thing, but I always go by Joey with my other friends. So that's why we got confused, because when I introduced myself, I introduced myself as Joey to everyone.
Okay.
But my name is go by Joe usually.
Got you. Yeah.
So I just go back and forth.
You know, to me, it works. Like if I look at your name on Zoom, it's Joe the J is capitalized and the Y is capitalized. So that's two different words. Like that's how I was like, I've been focusing on calling you Joe because I called you Joey for the first 3 episodes we've had you on or whatever, it's like, all right. And then I'm like, all right, his name's Joe. Joe, yours truly. I was like, it's Joe. Just keep that in mind.
I usually like to go by Joey, but people like the Joey part, so I just kind of left it in like that.
If that's what you prefer, that's what I'll call you, because that's what now I don't need to focus myself on calling you Joey. So
I'll end up back and forth.
There we go.
I'll go 50-50.
All right. So this is episode 21. I called it the thirsty episode, one, because it's old enough to drink now, right? We're 21. But we got some things we want to talk about. But we're going to talk about that later on in the episode. So I think the small topic we have real quick is something that you said you had on your conversation with one of your streams there, Pinzo, and I kind of want to get into that. You were talking about, I'll let you bring it up. You were talking about time to kill or something like that, right?
Yeah, so it was the conversation. It happened on stream for a bit, but the idea behind the conversation was, a lot of people obviously think that time to kill in this game is pretty high or fast, or however you want to say it. A lot of people think that it's a little too strong. But we had the conversation on whether or not, it's time to kill that's too strong, or whether or not it's crowd control that's too strong,
Right.
And it's one of those that's like people say, oh well, there's no DR in this game, there's no diminishing returns, so crowd control has to be OP.
So when you say time to kill is like a little bit too fast when you combine with like CC, are you talking about just in general, or like talking about particular heroes? Like, cause if you're like ADC and you get CC locked, you're almost always just gonna die right there, even if the time to kill is like high or low. Like as like an ADC or just basically talking in general, if you get CC locked, that should be like a kill on you kind of thing, right? That's just kind of how you.
Yeah, so I agree. I agree. If you eat a Rampage Rock into a Bellica stun and a Decker stun or something like that, right? Like that, you should die, right? That should kill you. It's to me, the issue is when it comes to things like a singular CC being all that it takes to kill someone, right? Obviously, if you're a Kalari and you're trying to get into the back line and a Rampage turns around and rocks you and you're staring down and you're in the middle of 4 enemies and you're stunned down, right? Like if you're getting that focused fired, yeah, you should die. But like it happens too much where like I'm playing Steel and I get Rampage rocked and I'm dead. Right. And I'm getting hit by just like the enemy carry and maybe I eat one mid lane ability. So it's like, is it 2 seconds? Is 2 seconds too long to get stunned by that ability? You know, or is it just that carries are a little overtuned?
Just out of curiosity, were you doing like Steel support that game or like what items?
Yeah. Okay. Don't play Steel
because I see
in support.
Because I see recently Sundown like doing like a Victor kind of jungle build, and I just remember watching his stream, and he had Void Helm, he had Wayman, he had a bunch of different items, and at one point he was pushed into the inhibitor, and for like 20 seconds straight he was just standing there immensely and just taking all the CC damage and just won't die kind of thing. So it's just kind of like in that example, I feel like I want to see what items you're being on Steel, because if you're dying in the time it takes for one CC to end, I think your build pass is a little weird, but I think it's just because you're playing Steel support, so you're gonna have less.
Yeah. In support, it's a little lower, but
so to me, time to kill. If it's the time to kill becomes concerning to me is if you're like an offlane or jungle, you're kind of like a bruiser or a tank, and you're like dying within like 2 CCs kind of thing, then that's concerning. But I think usually if you eat up a lot of CC as like duelists or boosters, you can usually live long enough to get out anyways kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, it's just, and maybe it's just something I'm not used to. Like in Smite, I feel that the time to kill is pretty similar, I would say, in Smite and Pred. Like late game, the time to kill is very similar. I feel like the issue is, I feel like there's kind of 2 issues. Number one, CC is less prevalent in Smite, not just because of diminishing returns, but like, I'm trying to think, I think the longest non-ultimate stun in Smite is 1.5 seconds. Like at least off the top of my head, that's the longest non-ultimate stun that I can think of. But like the thing about the stuns in Smite is like, if you want to land a 1.5 second stun, generally speaking, it either like takes real skill to land or it takes something else to set it up, right? Like Kabrakin has a 1.5 second stun, but he has to get hit 6 times before it stuns. Otherwise it slows, you know? So like that kind of thing, it's a trade-off. He has to take damage before he can stun. Or like Uller has a stun that's a ranged skill shot. It's a difficult skill shot in Smite. And it's like, yeah, it's 1.5 seconds, but if he hits it, you know, he gets rewarded for that. In this game, it's kind of just like Rampage presses R and then has an instantaneous unmissable rock that stuns for 2 seconds. It also goes infinite distance.
So first thing, Sundown asks, how often do you buy things like Unbroken Will? All right. And second,
there are some counters to it. Okay, as a tank, yes, there are some counters to it. Right. I do understand that.
I do think this is a combination. And Horatio Dub says it's because Pret doesn't have diminished return on CC, so you're stuck for the full duration if it's layered correctly. And I think it's a combination of time to kill and CC. Like the CC, no, sorry, I think it's time to kill. I think the answer is the reason that we're having this issue is time to kill. And I think CC just kind of makes that more prevalent, right? If you take the CC out of it, your time to kill is still low. And I think the CC just makes the time to kill like, oh my gosh, like it just makes it like, oh my God, that time to kill was insanely fast. And I think that is the issue. So I think it goes more with that. But I do agree with you that I do think diminishing returns is the way to go. And Mr. Med says, but shouldn't a team get rewarded for layering CC correctly? I think you still get rewarded with diminishing returns. I don't think you're getting.
You just have to be better at it.
Yeah, it's more of a skill expression. If you can play that as a team, you get, it's better for that way, in my opinion. I think that just makes it more skill expressible for as a team if you have diminishing returns, if you're able to layer the CC at the right times. But that's where I think it's at. Man Tequila says Hurt Dash has a 1.5 second stun and it's long. It was longer before. I think Pinzo is a bit misguided. Kabrakin has a auto enhance.
I'm working off the top of my head.
Might has plenty of CC stuns, it still just all shares the same diminished return. Okay.
The idea, yes, does Cabrakan have a instant stun on an auto attack? Yes, it is a single target 1 second stun. It is not the same as something like a Bellica stun that comes out frame 1 and is a 1.6 second stun knockup combo, right? It is not comparable in my opinion. Like that kind of stuff, it's just not. It is quite literally the CC and Pred to the CC and Smite is quite literally apples to oranges. Like it's really hard to compare because like the CC and Pred, generally speaking, easy to hit, long duration versus like lower durations, has trade-offs, it's more skillful to hit in Smite in my opinion.
Sundon says, I mean, TTK is definitely something we want to address and acknowledge in the last patch, so Def's not pretending it's okay, right? Yeah, we know you've addressed it. We know you guys know it's not okay. It's more of the, like I said, this is a community discussion in Pinzo's stream, and it was somebody bringing up the, you know, is CC more of the issue than is it TTK, or is it both? And like I said, I think CC just makes the time to kill issue more prevalent in that situation. But
I agree.
With that situation, right now we do know that Pred doesn't have diminishing returns, and I do think diminishing returns is better for a game. You know, I think it's a good quality of life situation to have. What are your thoughts on diminishing returns, Joe?
I kind of feel like if you can make a CC system without diminishing returns, I think that may be better in the long run. I don't know. It's a little interesting topic because if you want to talk about CC, you also have to consider all the other factors around it, like time to kill, right? Like if you CC block someone, do you actually have DPS fast enough to kill them, or they just kind of walk out? So it's kind of really interesting this because I'm thinking a lot of different items like a Broken Will, Absolution, Voidhelm. There's a lot of like items that can actually kind of counter CC. So what happens if you have diminishing returns on CC, but you have all these items that counter CC, then does that make like CC chain feel too weak in that sense, right? Because I'm trying to recall back to all my team fights, and I feel like you don't actually, at least in the games I play recently, I feel like you don't actually get that many situations where someone's like CC locked for like 5-6 seconds. I see like I follow up CC kind of thing, like 1-2 CC. So I just don't really see as too much of an issue in terms of like locking that too much like CC kind of chain going on, just because I don't see that happen enough in my games. Because you can also consider like if someone on the enemy teams gets CC, then a good enemy team should jump on you guys so you don't continue to lock down that same target because it's line of sight. It's not like League of Legends where you have a lot easier time throwing abilities even if there's people in front of you. There's a line of sight and a lot of different ways you can block continuous CC. I guess I'm trying to get that. So I feel like, at least in my opinion, I don't think diminishing returns is needed at the moment. I just want to see what this game balance kind of continues to go with and see if that's actually a solution we need or not, in my opinion.
Joe, can I ask, like, how much have you scrimmed very much, like, recently?
I have scrimmed, yeah.
Okay. Because, like, to me, in solo queue games, I don't see the CC issues. Like, yeah, getting Rampage rocked and then getting two-shot by a carry, you know, like, that feels bad, right? But, like, in scrims, I had a game the other day. I was playing Bellica support, and we were playing against I don't even know who we were playing, but this dude's playing Severog. He eats Howitzer Mine, booped into a Richter hook, into a Richter ult, into a Bellica stun, and he was quite literally locked down for like 5 seconds. A Severog 100 to 0'd, and like that's it. Like should that be allowed? I mean, like I see it a lot more in scrims when you can effectively stack CCs, or things just like Decker stun into anything else with Decker ultimate available is just free. Like it's just like, to me, like the full stacking in scrims is where it actually bugs me.
You guys are better gamers than me, so you guys answer this question, and I want to make sure it's correct here because I don't know the correct answer. D's, I'm gonna call this person D's because I don't want to say the full name. D's here says, so if two champs hit one with a CC, it stacks, it does not diminish. So if if oh my gosh, Narbash hits a thunk, right? And then fucking the rock gets thrown in. Those 2 second stuns get there. That's 4 seconds now. That person's it's slowly stacking, or it's
the second stun overwrites.
Overwrite. Okay, so it's not a completely stacking situation. It's not like, all right, we're just gonna hold this situation.
No, but so yeah. So Narbash thunk is 1.25 seconds.
Okay.
Rampage rock is 2. So if you Narbash thunk someone and then instantly rock them, they're stunned for 2 seconds. On the other side, if you rock them and then you thunk them, I don't know how it works in this game. I do not know if the longer CC will take effect, or if the second
I would
CC
think so.
takes over.
I would think it'd be the longer one.
Someone else would have to let me know.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know.
But yeah,
because that's like you would think the second one would overwrite, but it might just be the longer one. Because if you're stacking effectively, right, you know, like you can like easily 4 or 5 second stun people.
Right. So I just think so. Basically, what we're talking about is in that situation, Narbash throws his thunk, you know, and then Rampage waits close to that 1.5 seconds, and then throws his rock. And now all of a sudden, you waited a second, you were stunned for a second, and then all of a sudden you got hit by a rock. Now you're stunned for another 2 seconds. You're stunned for 3 seconds. You know, you're locked down for 3 seconds. That's what we're talking about, and that's in a diminishing return situation. That would be you're stunned for 1.5 seconds, or like 1 second. We'll say you throw the rock at that half second. Now you're only going to be stunned for another 2 seconds, because whatever it might be, right? It might be like 2.5 seconds, right? In that situation, instead of it being the full 2 seconds of the Rampage rock. And I just think that's a better, like I said, I think it's a quality of life situation. You did great in that situation as a team. You stacked your CC and kept that person locked down for a good amount of time, but it also gives that person the ability to then try to outplay, even though they're getting damaged. They have a chance to play out of that. In the situation of them being stunned for 3 seconds, there's not much time with the TTK being so low. There's not much time that they have the chance to play out of it. And I think putting diminished return is another way that they can work with TTK. Like they could either increase time to kill, you know, hey, it's going to be a long time to kill, not a long, right? But it's a longer time to kill than what it is right now. Or we could slightly increase it and put diminished return on and see how the community feels about that. Maybe the time to kill is better now because we have a diminished return CCs. It could be another thing they could add into, like another variable they could add with it, and see how the community feels about it. And this, I said last week, this is early access. This is the best time to do all that stuff.
Well, so we know, right? We know that next patch they are adjusting time to kill, right? That has been said.
Is it next patch, or is it next season they're working on it?
My understanding was that there would be a time to kill patch to lead season 2.
Okay.
Is that
I'm going to look. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna look. Yeah,
wrong. That was
I'm gonna look it up.
Understanding was that the launch patch was going to address time to kill. But again, like here's my thing. Here's my guess. All right, my guess is that it's a lot easier to code item changes than it is to add DR to the game. Right. Like my guess is they fully try to fix TTK before they ever try and touch diminishing returns. Because it's easier.
That's kind of what I mean earlier. I feel like it's easier to address the issue at the core without touching like diminishing returns. That's kind of why I want to see how they address like TTK before we kind of like go be like, okay, we should just add diminishing returns to all the CC. Because you think about there's a lot of different CC variables, like how we mine, like how you do a CC diminishing return on the how we mine. Like do you just get booped like a little bit further away?
Knockups are generally unaffected by DR.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So that's that. And then, I mean, I'm also thinking like it's Decker Stasis Bomb. Like that one has variable stun duration. So you add DR on top of that, that may feel a little bit bad on the Decker trying to get a really cool stun ball. But
okay, Decker has the most fair stun in the entire game. I'm not even going to try and be mad at her. She has the most fair stun in the game.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like there's just way too many stuff you have to take into account if you're trying to add DR, because there's just so many different ways, durations of like stuns in this game. I feel like if they can address like TTK and that makes stun locking doesn't feel as bad, then I think we that'd be a good solution. Right? I feel like I said, diminishing return shouldn't be something you want to be like messing around with, kind of thing. Just because I think whole thing can get a little complex when there's probably other stuff you can fix that's easier and faster.
I mostly agree with you. Yes. So I know you brought up Howie's mine, right? Yeah. What's your guys' opinion in this game, right? This is another thing that goes into chain CCs, not necessarily DR, but like chain CCs. What's your guys' opinions of all knockups being stuns in this game?
Being equivalent to stuns. All right. We can't
stun you for the duration. You can't act. It's a stun. You have zero acts you can take. It's a stun.
By technicality, you're right. I'm just saying it's a knockup, right? I don't know.
It's like a combo CC.
I'm not as what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not as well versed in MOBAs as some. All right, but the MOBAs that I've played in, I don't know of any stuns that are knockups that I'm like able to like turn around, just keep shooting, do whatever as I'm flying through the air. To me that's just normal, right? I don't think, but I don't like it's
MOBAs aren't. How many of those MOBAs are you aiming on a Z-axis?
All of them. I don't play top-down guesses.
So what else are you playing? Smite?
I played Smite. I played Fault. I played Paragon. I played TTO.
So in Smite you don't aim up,
right? No, you don't.
So when you're knocked up, you're above the battlefield. You're off the battlefield. You obviously can't do anything. Right? Even like cleansing that doesn't bring you to the ground. In this game, the fact that it's 3-dimensional, right? To me, how like being able to act while knocked up would be the single greatest quality of life change this game could implement. Because like Howie mine right now, Howie's broken, right? Howie's like top 1-2 characters in the game at this exact moment, right? And part of that is because he has essentially a ranged Severog ultimate that you can't act in. Imagine if you could, you're in your tower, you're kind of low. Howie boops you out of your tower. He's going to kill you with his combo when you hit the ground. If you could instantly 180 blink away and use, that's something that where it takes skill to have reaction time and be able to, make that play while you're getting booped. Right, and you'd be able to blink away, and now you're safe. You still burn your blink, but you are able to react. Or Howie's 1 HP and you're full health, and he's going to boop you away from him, and he's going to get away. But you're playing carry, so while he boops you, you shoot off a couple autos in the air, and you kill him because you have the skill to aim while you're being thrown away. You obviously still don't have movement ability, right? You can't strafe in the air, but like you'd be able to shoot him and make that skillful play while you're flying away.
Oh, I'm on your side in that situation. I'm just saying, like, to a person that's just coming in and trying to understand a MOBA, like to sit there, it's hard for me to say. Like, I know what you're saying, and what you're saying technically isn't wrong because you're not able to do anything, right? But it's not. It's in MOBA terms, it's not a stun, right? Is all I'm saying. Like, it's hard to say, hey, it's a stun. Right, it is. I know what you're saying. You're not wrong in that situation, but to help somebody that's new to the game try to understand what's going on, it's a knockup. You're doing this, whatever. But I do agree with you. I want that to happen. I want you to be able to fully control your character in that situation. It basically a flying route, is what it should be. Right, a knockup should be a flying route. You're able to react to. Right, I'm okay with it. But then again, it's also a little unrealistic because if you get thrown in the air, you're not going to be sitting there like, all right, I'm going to start shooting at you and land on my feet. You're like, oh shit, I'm flying.
But this isn't me, bro. This ain't Pinzo from Montana trying to shoot guns. This is Kira the vampire hunter, bro. You don't think she could pull out the 9 while she's midair? I think she could.
You're right. She could. So real quick, I want to double back real quick because Ray answered this question, and I appreciate you, Ray, for jumping in here and answering this. Next patch is the first of many geared towards TTK improvements, in parentheses, specifically for carries, as it's a can of worms to unravel that can't be tackled simply in a single patch. So we're taking it step by step, and we'll adjust to community feedback. So completely appreciate that. Thank you for stopping by and giving us that information. That is awesome. But yeah, no, I'm all about being able to do that. I think that adds more skill to the game. I think it adds more to the Z axis. That's the whole point of these. That's what Paragon was. The big thing they had was the Z axis and the verticality in the game. So being able to do that just adds to it, and I think it might add more. What's the word I'm looking for? It might be harder for people to understand. I can't think of the exact term I'm thinking of right now.
I get it.
But I think it just makes it. You don't have to. You could sit there and just fly. Like, okay, I didn't shoot the whole time I was flying. And you could be stunned while you got knocked up. But the people who are better at the games, like there's people that just can play Fang Mao better than me, right? That doesn't mean that I just like I can't play Fang Mao. I could sit there and play him. I'm just not playing great.
Well,
so
like you talk about like how people from other MOBAs maybe understand that, but that if you could shoot in the air, it might feel a little weird. But what about like people coming from other games, right? Like this game has the potential to reach some sort of wider audiences, like an Overwatch sort of audience, right? Like you could call this like a hero shooter, right?
Yeah.
Like, can you?
Overwatch is a MOBA by technicality. Like it is a MOBA, so yes, it can reach out to that. My
point being, like, imagine an Overwatch if Sigma's ultimate stunned you while you were in the air. You're flying, and he just sucked you up, and you're like, well, now I'm dead, right? I'm 50 HP. I can't. He's 1 health, but I'm stunned in the air, so I can't kill him, right? Like, don't you think it'd be weird for Overwatch players to come into Pred and be like, wait, he just like, why am I flying through the air? I can't move. I can't aim. I can't shoot. Like that guy was 1 HP. I should have shot him. Like, am I no regging? Is my guy? Am I bugging? Like, what is this? Like it could be the same confusion for other people.
Hey, Bill, just real quick. I'm able to make like a poll on Twitch where you can ask them this question if they want to see like what is it, the
diminishing returns? Oh, yeah, okay, that
knocked up. If they want to see if for knocked ups, if you want to be able to move or just keep it as is.
I should be able to. I'm some kind of a streamer, I think.
Because I feel like if you want to like kind of talk about the knocked up and being able to act in it, wouldn't that make some knocked up abilities feel really bad then?
You don't have to make some things can be a knock up and a stun. Bellica specifies knock up plus stun.
Okay, that's why I was want to be like sure, because it would feel really bad if you get really nice Severog knocked up with his R, but then someone can just blink out immediately. Like you spend all that time.
But that's a 40-second cooldown for a 5-minute cooldown. It's a really good trade.
I don't know, like, I don't know, like, but for to me, like, as I play Severog quite a bit, and like to me, it feels really bad if I get a really good pick with the E, I dash behind and like do my knocked up, but then the characters immediately blink away from the team, kind of thing.
All right, poll is started.
Because technically, you have a cleanse, so you can cleanse like if you have the cleanse, you can cleanse the Sev ultimate or cleanse the wound, so you don't give an ARB in the first place. If you, for like Severog knocked up, if you had the ability to use the ability or blink to get out, that's just like a safety cushion. That's like not really that good special. Severog ultimate is going to come and knock you up. So instead of trying to cleanse that, you're just like, okay, I'm going to let him knock me up and then blink away. Easy. To me,
but the cleanse is 150-second cooldown. So you're saying your 40-second cooldown is worth 150-second cooldown, but not the 5-minute cooldown of blink?
I mean it's not a bad like argument. It's just I don't know how I feel about certain knocked ups, like having the ability to just like move out of it. Because if you get knocked up in the first place, you should be like punished for it in a certain way. Like same thing like CC, you get CC and you have no way to like cleanse out of it, then you should get punished for it for the first place. Like,
I mean, I understand, but if you're like realistically, right, in the air, blink would really be the only movement you have available, right? Because I'm not saying give the characters full air strafe in the air, because that'd be dumb, right? A knockback should move you, right? That's the point of it. But like if blink is the only option you have to like cancel sort of the knockback, I mean that's something you can do 5 times a game. like, to me, if you're fast enough to react to something, because if I get Sevolted and I'm too slow, and a second later I blink away, I'm still way out of position from that Sevolt, right? Like, that's just how it is.
Minimum 10 brings up
point. I already flew so far. But
minimum 10 brings up good comment though, or good question. Unless you're Twin Blast or Kira, or Fang Mao, or Shinbi, like, what about those abilities? Like, what are you going to be able to then just use your dashes to move out of it, that situation? Or
it depends. I mean, things like Kira dash or Shinbi dash, you could have them hold momentum through the dash. They move their set dash distance, but they're still moving backwards from a Severog ultimate because they still have that momentum. I guess you don't have to make it cancel completely the momentum of that ultimate. Something like Fang dash would feel a little worse if you kept that momentum, but
I think the best thing to do here is you still have the ability to auto. I think that would be the best thing to do it, like to sit there and be able to do, and maybe your blink, right? Not an ability, even if your ability is a dash or whatever. Like, I think you can auto attack, and you can use your actual number 4 blink or whatever that is. Like that would be the.
But the thing is, like, you have your blink. You're saying you can use your blink to get out of the knocked up, but if you can use your blink to avoid the knock up in the first place. So that's just another room for error that's game free to the players. Like,
but what if I eat a Rampage Rock and then a Sev walks in? He has 2 seconds to ult me where I can't blink away.
If you're in the position when you can Rampage walk and the Sev is like nearby, then I think you just call that position.
He has 2 seconds. You can walk halfway down a lane in 2 seconds, bro. He could be anywhere.
Halfway, not a Severog.
He's got a dash. He could get halfway down a lane in 2 seconds, bro. Like, they could come from anywhere, and then after he ults me, now I have the option to make a play.
So I want to so even if like we continue this conversation, I want to continue this conversation. Even if we went down this road, right? Mr. Meds brought up a great comment involving these games, right? So I think this is a huge decision design that they need to make. Also, have to think about it. There are a lot of visual effects and animation work that needs to be done to allow this to happen. Because right now, this is the set Paragon animations that they coded into this game. And that's the way Paragon had it. Paragon had it to where you were flailing like this. Well, you can't auto attack as you're flailing because you're flying through the air, right? So if you're doing that, nobody clipped that. If you're doing that, then you got to change that animation to where now you're doing the normal, you're just moving and you're able to attack, right? So that's stuff that's going to be changed as well. And I mean, which is perfectly fine. I think that, if we're going to make this game as great as we want it to be, that's where we would make those steps and make those changes. Should behave as an aerial route. Yeah, there you go. That's as a route.
Yeah, you don't get your WASD keys don't work while you're knocked up. Period. Right. Your feet aren't on the ground. To me, that makes total sense.
All right. Should you be able to shoot while being knocked up? 83%, 19 votes said no. 17%, 4 votes said yes. So we're on the minority here, Pinzo.
Okay.
But it's fine.
I just I think that my main sort of comparison is to Overwatch, right? Like, if you were to get, Doomfist knocked up, obviously he doesn't have Rising Uppercut anymore, right? But like Overwatch 1, you get Doomfist knocked up. If you're playing Tracer, you dash away, right? Like, that's it. Otherwise you die, right? And that's something where Doomfist has to, guess what he has to do? He has to play smart and not target Tracer. He has to find his actual target that he needs to be hitting, period. Like stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. Like, to me, that is, it's skill on both sides, right? If Doom tries to kill Tracer, she's going to get away because she has a lot of escapability tools. But if he targets correctly and goes on like a Zenyatta, that's a free kill, right? Like, that's just, I don't know. To me, that makes sense. Knockup's a hard CC in every game you've ever seen it. Yeah, but I like, have you not played a first person shooter? Like, I can't think of a single first person shooter where every knockup is a stun.
I mean, you're comparing the FPS to a MOBA. That's two completely different gaming environments right there.
Yeah,
like,
but
FPS is made for
think
FPS.
I strongly think if you're going to put the third axis into a MOBA, you have to start pulling from first-person shooters. I think you have to, or even third-person shooters.
I don't think you have to. Why you have to pull from FPS for a MOBA game? Like
because League players, like a diehard Dota player or a League player, is not going to come play this game full time. It's not the right game. That's not the audience you're going to pull, in my opinion. I strongly don't think so.
Do you think Predecessor as a MOBA only will not be a survive zone, but if it pulls the FPS audience, it can survive? So it has to pull FPS mechanics, is what you're trying to say?
I think it should. I think it needs to look at all the games that are available. Your Paladins and Overwatch, to me, are literally the top two communities you are going to get to play this game. And part of that is Smite players pretty diehard, but Season 10 is pretty good. Smite players are going to keep playing Smite. League and Dota players are going to be like, what the fuck is aiming? I'm not going to play this trash game, right? Like, that's what they're going to say. Overwatch kind of sucks right now. Paladins, dying game, right? It's allegedly. But like those games are losing player bases while this game's trying to gain a player base. And this game is, believe it or not, very similar to both of those games. So I strongly believe that they should be pulling from them.
All right, so I have a comment on that real quick, but before that, I did put a new poll up, and the question is, should there be DR, diminishing returns, in Pred? All right, so go ahead and comment on that poll, or vote on that poll, and then with that, I'm with Pinzo here. Yes, is it a first-person shooter? It is, but it's still a MOBA. It is a multiplayer online battle arena, so it literally is a MOBA. It's just not your traditional 3-lane tower defense MOBA. So with it being a MOBA, you still can bring in those assets into this game and to entice those players to come here, right? We're not going to be able to survive. This game will not be able to survive on Paragon's player base alone. All right, because part of Paragon's player base is split because of the right
Steam charts right now and tell me how Paragon's player base is treating this game.
Right. So, yeah. So we do need to advertise in other games. And somebody asked, do we think somebody asked where was it? And a diehard COD player is going to play this full time? A diehard COD player? Probably not. But a COD player in general that just generally playing Call of Duty and they're looking for another game to play, like, hey, I'm okay with playing COD, but I enjoy it, but I want to play something else. Those are the people we're going to bring over here. We're not going to bring diehard fans over. Like, diehard fans are going to play diehard game.
Fans of any game into this.
So
a guy with 4,000 hours on Destiny 2 isn't going to drop that game to come play Pred, bro. Period. As someone with 10,000 hours on Smite isn't going to completely drop Smite to come play Pred. That's not really how gaming works, bro. Like, that's just like anyone who thinks that if you truly have a main game, you will not truly drop that game to play something else.
Why does Pinzo seem so mad? It's the glasses.
I'm always mad.
It's the glasses. You can't see the bright shiny eyes. He's got a big smile on his face right now if you were to take his glasses off, but you can't. The glasses hide that. Mr. Bed says, only voted no because I would love to see them pull some levers on TTK before they put that in there. And that's perfectly fine. And they've already said they're going to do that. I just think I guess I should have asked more in general of into the future. Do we think that it should happen? But yeah. Flare gun, that's just Pinzo. Maybe Knockup and CC feel worse because of the third person action.
Doesn't feel bad in the game.
Yeah, I don't know. Did he Red or just tired of Smite? Come on.
Yeah,
I missed.
No,
right.
I can tell you that answer because I have straight up asked Soul Reaper that question. Soul Reaper does not like Season 10 Smite. That is why he is playing Pred. Oh. Obviously, that's not the entire reason. He obviously enjoys Pred enough to stream it every day, right? But he does not like Season 10 of Smite.
So headshots do crit damage and leg and arm shots do less damage than chest shots in next patch? Possible? We don't know. I mean, that would be something you could do. It is definitely. Do you upload these episodes to Twitch after the show, or is it mostly just Windows? It's Windows YouTube. I actually purposely don't put my VODs on Twitch for that reason, so then we can get people to show over there as well. Show love on both platforms. but it is Windows YouTube. My main dislike about DR is how it affects characters like Sev, Steel, Rick, characters that want to dump their kit, use multiple abilities to cause disruption with DR.
Richter's ultimate is already no DR.
Would pretty much nerf their team by engaging. So only heroes with long stuns would be desired, more Rampage and Decker.
That's completely untrue. Richter's ultimate A is already unaffected by DR. It's a suppression. It's not affected by tenacity. So it is a 1.5 second stun every time. You cannot reduce it. You can cleanse it, obviously, but you cannot reduce it. Steel's ultimate is already a knockup that can't be reduced, right? So like those characters are currently unaffected by tenacity in the game, which is essentially what DR is.
All right, but let's take their ultimate. All right, so I'm just devil's advocate in this situation. Let's take their ultimate out of it, right? But you have Steel's dash, which is a CC, and then you got Steel's.
It's no DR on a knockup.
No, so the only thing you're going to get a DR on is his RMB, right?
Which is a 0.3 second stun, which I'm assuming in Smite, DR stuns have a minimum duration of 0.4 seconds. DR has a max. So even if you're maxed to DR and you get hit by a 1 second stun, you are stunned for 0.4 seconds, right?
Okay.
So if there is any kind of max in this game, then Steel's right click will be unaffected.
Got you. All right. So our poll is finished. We only had 19 people vote on this one. That's fine. So we had 63% say yes, that diminishing returns should be in Pred, and 37%, 7 votes said no. All right. And minimum 10, I need you to, like, what do you want me to, what are my answers about TTK? You want me to ask about poll TTK, but I mean, we all want TTK to change. So I guess I'll give me some answers you want me to put in that poll, and I'll put that poll up for you.
I agree. Like, I think we're all gonna agree on time to kill.
Yeah, time to kill should change. Yes,
we're all on the same page.
And as Sundown was already in here earlier, said they already pointed out they are going to work on it, and Ray already pointed out that they're going to work on it. Every patch they're going to put something, make changes towards it. So no changes are coming. But yeah, so I guess it's more or less what you want me to pull on this situation. All right. Paragons have been killed or been killing every version of Paragon since the OG version. I can see you're not wrong with that statement, Fox. But I think it's a little it's a little drawn out with that. Does TTK feel way too fast, little too fast, good, little too slow, way too slow? Okay.
I think we're all pretty much in agreement, unless you're some like diehard carry player that is mad that they can't win a solo queue game if carries aren't OP or something like that. Like that's really the only person that's gonna say don't fix time to kill. But I don't know on that one. Like I feel like we're all we've hit that right. Like we are all. I think we're all on the same page.
Right. No, I'm just let the community vote. I'm on that. I think it's way too fast, and I'm as an ADC man, I think it's way too fast.
Do you guys want to move on to the next topic?
Yes, that was your topic, so I'll let you bring that up.
Yeah, so the next topic is we know that FaZe is coming next week because a while ago they did that Reddit poll where it was a vote between FaZe, Quan, and Grayson, who would be the first hero of season 2. And FaZe won that poll, so we're expecting FaZe to be the first new hero in season 2, and we know the season 2 is set to start next Tuesday. So I figured we can kind of have a quick discussion on what we think is going to be FaZe's like kit and Predecessor, because we saw Master's been kind of tinkering around all the different Paragon OG kits, so we can kind of like have a discussion of what you guys want to see in this new FaZe kit and Predecessor.
All right. Yeah, so with FaZe being the next hero, right? What I don't want is I don't want her to be a mid main like they made her in like Paragon Nova Prime. I want her to be the support that I know her as. But
interesting. For those who do not know, in Nova Prime, what they did with her is her tether. You can in Paragon, you can only attach it to your allies, but Nova Prime in that version of the game, you make it so you can tether enemies, so you can tether the enemy and then kind of whip them right in front of your face. You can blind them, stun, and all that kind of stuff. So it made them more like an actual mage and support in that game, kind of thing.
I don't think you can do that. I don't think you should do that in Pred. You can do it in Pred. I don't think you should do that in Pred though, because I feel like giving her an easy lock on Richter pull is too cheesy, right? It's
you don't like point and click Richter pull?
Yeah, no, I don't like that at all. So, but what Fault did, and I did, it's a little more of a balance issue, but like what Fault did is you're able to attack, you'll be more offensive with it instead of being defensive with your carry and pulling your carry back and helping them and saving them. You can be more defensive with it and put it on your opponent, and if you're able to keep it on for a certain time, you're able to stun them, right? So I thought that was like a good thing for her. But I'm okay with her just having the original Paragon kit, just only being the carry and going from there. But what are your guys' thoughts?
Well, so as someone who I literally do not remember, I don't know if FaZe was in the game when I played Paragon, don't know, don't care. First off, I think you have to change her kit. I do not want her to have the exact same kit. I think that's
what's wrong with her kits?
I don't even know what her kit does. The only base kit that I know what does is overprimes. Okay.
So
like my point is that I won't beat it to death, right? But because I've spoken about this topic a couple times, but the copy paste of the 2016 Paragon kits into Pred is my biggest that's the thing I dislike about the game the most is that they're not changing enough from the kits, and obviously it's a nostalgia based game, so you can't change everything. But
so what do you think of Countess and Revenant kit, because they were really similar, almost identical to the Paragon version of the kits.
I think Countesses is harder to change, but Revenants, I really wish they changed Revenant's kit.
Oh, so you don't like the E and Q on him? You want something a little different than that, or
I have other gripes with his current abilities. I don't know what else you would put on him. I'm not a designer, right? It's not my job to come up with the character abilities, right? But his current abilities being lock-ons is I don't like that, obviously, but I just think they need to change the characters more, in my opinion. They don't the characters that they have changed, I think, are the best characters in Pred. Kira, Chimera getting a cleanse, Decker getting a new ultimate. To me, those are the best characters in Pred.
Yeah, I mean, there's a saying, you don't want to fix what's kind of good, right? Don't fix what's not broken. And I mean,
I completely understand.
Yeah, and I mean, it's in my head in terms of development kind of thing. It makes sense. The first few heroes you bring on are the ones that didn't have that many flaws, right? Think of Sarah. Do you know Sarah from Paragon? Remember her kits?
Yep.
Yeah, so imagine trying to make the new play version of her. That's probably going to require a lot more changes, because she was originally designed as a melee ADC, but obviously in Paragon, she was kind of not a melee ADC. She was playing a lot of jungle and offlane. It was just really weird time with her. So I feel if you want to try to expand the roster as fast as you can, you ideally want to put in heroes that doesn't require that many dramatic changes, I guess. It would be really cool if you could see some spicy changes kind of thing, but I mean, I don't think you should change a character's kit just for the sake of it. If it's already really solid, then you should.
I do agree. I don't need a 100% rework of FaZe. All right, I will say that, right? But there's a point where, in my opinion, you do have to change some stuff. Especially, again, this game is, whether you like it or not, it's essentially a third person shooter, right? It's a MOBA, obviously, but it's essentially a third person shooter. And at some point you have to actually put in some aiming mechanics into your shooter game. And currently, the heroes that came out in season 1 did not have any aiming mechanics, realistically. Every character that came out in season 1 had an auto hit, no aim ability, at least one.
I mean, Kira was all bit Kira doesn't have lock-on ability. But I mean, you have to hit someone to use.
You do, okay, but with her ultimate, you have an ultimate to stack it up.
Okay, but you have to get someone's face as an ADC, and then put you at great risk.
I know. My point being that at some point you got to put an aiming ability in your game. Like, what if FaZe as a kit is basically the same, but she can miss her tether, or she can miss her link onto an ally?
Well, like,
it would suck. It would suck, but it'd be like, damn, bro, you juked my pull, so now I don't get to hit you.
Well, FaZe's E is not a lockdown. You have to actually aim that back in Paragon. So I
don't know what her E is. I don't know what her E is.
I'm gonna send you the wiki of her original kits, so you can kind of get.
While you're looking that up, I have to make my comment and my stand here, because Fox McCloud agreed with Pinzo about wanting the kits to change or whatever, and I completely disagree. All right. This game is a remake. The game's predecessor. It's supposed to actually be pre-Paragon, right? So this is like, these kits are like, this game is what it is. These developers are making a game that they loved. They're remaking a game that they loved, right? So that's what it is, and it's a game that they feel they can make succeed as long as they don't make the same mistakes that Epic made with their game, right? So I'm completely okay with having these exact same kits, because these exact same kits with the game that I loved playing in 2016, 2017. You know, like, I'm all about that. So give me exactly what it is, and when you bring in your new characters, that's when your IP champs, that's when we can have different kits and stuff like that. Making subtle changes here and there, like Decker and Chimera, with their kits and seeing how things are going. That's fine. I don't need exactly one-for-one changes, or one-for-one, not changes, I guess, the opposite of that. But something, I'm okay with some changes here, but I like keeping the kits pretty much the same. That's what I would prefer. I don't think it ruins the game by any means. I think there might be some things, like if you felt that this kit is one of the reasons that Paragon died, then maybe that's something that you need to look at. But if you don't feel that about the kit, then there's really no reason to not give us that kit.
I understand. Like, I see both sides, right? Like, I do think that there's an argument to be had to keep the original kits, because that is, why people are coming back, is to play the old characters from that one game that shut down that one time, right? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like, to me, and again, I won't go deep into it because I've said this a bajillion times, but those kits are from 2016. Some of the later heroes from that game have some more interactive kits, but like, a lot of those 2016 kits to me are just, it's characters that cannot survive as was in a game today. Like Revenant is, I think, the best example that's in Pred so far. It's a third person shooter character that has 3 lock-on abilities, and the 4th ability doesn't do anything. Right? Like, I just, like, to me, that's a kit that shouldn't exist in 2023 in what's essentially a third-person shooter.
So what happens in 2035? Should Smite just change all their kits then? Because that, I mean, all these, or at least the characters that were brought out in 2000, like, all of a sudden, or whatever, 2013, right? When was that? When Smite started? 2013. Whenever it started, right? 2013. So the 2013 kits, we just need to change all these kits, because this hero is no longer viable in 2035. We need to change these kits. Or League of Legends, like, all right, our original hero, we got to change the kit up, because it's not. I mean, we're so far here. Like, you're not just going to keep changing kits. Like, you just add more characters.
Why not?
Because you just add more characters. You just create more people, and the people who want to, like, hey, I remember this OG character, I'm gonna play this one. That's who I want to play as.
I'm sure you have seen what happens to those old characters when you just keep adding new ones, right?
They either get played or they don't.
I'll tell you, Beard. I'll tell you what happens. What happens is you get characters like Thor in Smite, okay, who statistically, he's a fine character right now. He's actually pretty good in the meta. His abilities are throw hammer, spin around with hammer, and then he has an ultimate that's actually cool where he flies up in the air and dunks down, right? His passive is gains power for enemies around him. His passive is gain 15 power if 3 enemies are next to you. There was a character released last year, Kleena. Her passive is go into walls in the map. She can walk through walls. You're going to tell me that those two passives are comparable? I mean, come on. Walking through walls, that's an ultimate ability in 2016 Smite, and now it's a passive on a character. Like, I mean, like, it's one of those things that's just like
I'm still gonna use Thor though, because that ultimate is enough. I don't care about the rest of the abilities. That ultimate going up and slamming down on somebody, awesome. I'm all about it. So I'm still gonna use it. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're gonna have people that you're gonna use it. So there's gonna be however many people they're gonna use this old character. It is what it is. We'll just create a new one, and this is what the majority of our player base is gonna use, is just a new one. And we got our OGs that will say, hey, I like this guy. But real quick, the time to kill poll is finished. We had 9 votes, so 50% of way too fast. 7 votes of so 39% of little too fast, and 2 votes of good, which is 11%. We had no votes for it being a little too slow, and no votes for way too slow. Kind of what we thought it would be. So there we go. There's that poll though. But yes. I just think you just keep making new characters, right? So until you keep on bringing these old characters in, and you also keep on sprinkling your own IP, and your own IP is going to be those new, fresh kits that you guys want to have. That's where you guys, the part of the community that wants the new kits, that's going to be your new character. The part of the community who wants who is here to play the original Paragon, like me, that's what I'm here for. I literally built this PC so I could play Paragon again. My brother told me once the game died, I said, I've heard that these games were Project Phoenix. First one came out and they announced that they're going to try to remake a Paragon style or a MOBA, a 3D MOBA. Oh man. And my brother's like, that's never going to happen. I'm like, okay. But here I am today. I built a PC and I'm playing these games I've been playing for the last 3 years. Like, this is what I'm here for. I'm not here to play as a guy that looks like Revenant, but with a completely that doesn't play as Revenant. Like, he doesn't have the ultimate that sends you in a completely different spot. Like, this is what I'm here for. I'm here for this.
No, well, and Soul Reaper makes a really good point here. He says, why reworking kits is the plan instead of just using the new abilities and making more original characters. Like, that's a totally fair point. Like, I definitely understand. I just I just don't like the copy paste of the characters. Like, FaZe was in Paragon, was FaZe's or her link or whatever. Was it point and click? Was it select an ally and now you're linked?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If it was a skill shot, even if it didn't hit enemies can't block it, but you have to, like, let's say to pull an ally, you have to skill shot them with this. Right? Like, do you think, is that a yay, or is that that a no?
That's a nay. FaZe's whole kit is she's gonna be buddy up with something, and now you're gonna make that just harder for why? Like, what's the reason to make it harder? It doesn't. In my head, it sounds like a big hassle and make people not like to play this kit to kind of thing.
Yeah. Do you guys play Smite? Have either of you played Smite in the last month?
No.
I played Smite in the past.
I haven't played it. Well, I haven't played Smite for a month. Like, that's not even
matters, because for any Smite players in chat, Aphrodite just got reworked, right? They just reworked all the healers. Aphrodite just got a big change. She essentially has phase link. She kisses an ally and it phase links her. And right now, Aphrodite is, I could pull the stat right now, but my guess is she has over a 60% pick ban rate. She has a 100% pick ban rate at like competitive level. Because she is currently absolutely broken because she is brain dead. You link to an ally and it makes them unkillable. That ally is now unkillable. Like, that's what I'm worried about.
That's just, but that's a balancing thing, though. Yeah, that's just, you have to balance that situation. I can literally just, hey, I linked to Joe as my ADC, which Joe doesn't play ADC, but I linked to Joe as my ADC, and what it does is, in OG Paragon, it gave you mana regen and it gave you health, right? And it was like a drip, right? It helped you slowly give you that stuff, right? So an auto attack does more damage than the drip that she's giving that person, right?
Yeah, now in lane, an auto attack does more than a Narbash shield too, and in lane, Narbash is always full health.
Well, that's what depends on that, but that's the thing. Now, that's in that situation, right? If you're in lane with a good Narbash, or if you're in lane with a good phase, compared to in lane with a Decker or in lane with a Muriel, right? It changes your out. Like, that was one of the things that I remember with Paragon is when you went into lane against a phase and an ADC, you focused the phase first. right? And you got rid of the phase, and then you're able to get rid of the ADC. It just kind of changes it up a little bit, and it was a nice little twist.
Saying is that it's a drip that does less than an auto, so like, why does it matter? Then why would you have to focus phase first?
Because they're still able to do things to you to help, poke you and slow you down, do what, because she also has, like, she can be linked, and she can also she's got her little laser beam that she's able to slow you down or whatever, do other things to you. Like, there's other things that can happen to you. I'm just saying it's not the link itself. You're talking about that being a skill shot, and then us talking about it not being a skill shot. I'm saying the link itself is not that big of a deal, that it's making it a skill shot or not.
Right?
It does allow you to pull.
Link, right?
Right. It does allow you to pull, but what are you already linked? What is the skill shot with that? It's the same thing as Kira having that, like that. Hey, she just hits her Q.
Not if it's point and click. If you actually have to aim your tether, then when an ally gets Richter hooked, if they get Richter hooked and then immediately howitzer mines, and you try to throw to where that Richter hook was ending with your link, and they get booped and you miss your link, now you can't pull them back. Right? You missed. You killed that guy, right? But you also have the option to, if you hit him, now you pull him back and you save that guy, right? It's a skill play.
You can't pull them unless you are linked, right? It's like the tether that you have with Gideon, right? So when Gideon, that's obviously what is that? What is that tether, by the way?
It's just passive.
Okay, I'm like, wait a minute, why am I being tethered? Like, I remember in original Paragon, that was one of it.
It's an ability, yeah.
That was an ability, like pre-42. I'm like, why am I being tethered right now? Like, what's happening? Like, I feel like something's happening to me right now. But anyways, it's similar to that, right? You link to them, and you can stay linked to them, and then as they get out of position, you're able to hit the apply the button. Let's say it's E, right? Whatever button it is, you're able to hit E again, and it pulls them back to you, right? It just is like, hey, that link just pulls you back.
No, so I understand how it works.
But you're talking about it being just like Richter pulled and then Howie. Like, if a Richter pull and a Howie mine, you're gonna get far enough away, the link's gonna break. So you're not gonna be able to do anything anyways, right? If they do it right.
But my point was, like, if let's say you're linked to your carry and your jungler gets picked in a fight, and you need to quickly link to someone else. I don't know. Let's be clear. I don't know if that was possible in Paragon. Don't care. Let's say you're linked to your carry, and you need to quickly link to your jungler to pull them back, but you miss the link. It's a skill shot and you miss it. So you can't pull your jungler and they die, right? You messed that up. That's a skill play that you couldn't make, and now that guy's dead. Alternatively, if you hit him and pull him into your team, that's a skill play that you just made that saved your teammates.
I mean, making the pull in the first place is a skill play. Why are you making it a skill shot for the phase link?
It's all about timing.
Because, like, the thing with phase link back in Paragon, it's usually always been on a long cooldown. So if you see phase pull someone back, that's an opportunity for you to get picked because you know that phase not going to pull anyone. Or whether the phase have to be paying attention in the first place to relink to someone and pull them back. But now you're going to add a unnecessary barrier to that, and now the support player is just going to feel really bad because he saw opportunity to pull his teammate back, but because of a dumb mechanic. I'm not saying your idea is bad. It's really. No,
you can say it's bad. No, let me have it, Jim. Come on.
He's too nice. He won't do it.
I know he is. I'm
going to tell you right now. Your idea for phases link is ass. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not a nice guy.
No, like, I get what you're saying. And your whole point is you want to make kits a little bit more skill expression, right?
Yes.
And one of the easier ways of doing that is adding skill shots, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like in Phase's original kit, the skill expression plays into when you just know when to pull, because when you pull someone too early, you just kind of entering your teammate essentially. That's
oh my gosh, that was my worst thing about phase. Yes. I hated a troll phase. A phase that just wanted to troll, like, oh, I'm gonna pull you out of that. Like, no, it was a kill. I literally had him killed and you pulled me out.
So like with phase, there's a lot of skill expression and just knowing when to pull someone back. So you don't necessarily need to add a skill shot to B. Like,
but I agree. I understand where you're coming from. It's a different kind of skill expression, right? It's a knowledge thing, right? But maybe the knowledge thing is being linked to the correct teammate to start the fight. If you're already linked to someone, you're not going to have to skill shot them to pull them back. Whereas if you're linked to your carry, who you're worried is going to get Richter hooked, and then that Richter hook actually hits your other teammate, now you're in the position where you if you want to save that other guy, now you've got to make a play.
I mean, you also got to consider there's so many different factors when it comes to zombie. Like, what happened if you want to relink to a Shinbi quickly before a fight, but also suddenly you just dash forward and you just miss your like link to that? That's not your fault. It's just a bad timing, but you're getting punished for just unnecessarily bad timing right before a team fight starts, and now all of a sudden you're not linked to anyone at all because you missed your new link targets. Like, to me in my head, it's just I feel like that's just not necessary. I feel like it's just a bad mechanic kind of thing. I mean,
yeah.
And I got Saber's Fortune and who else? I'm gonna scroll up here.
I can see where you're coming from, Joe.
Street Soldier, Saber's Fortune, both kind of similar, saying that like there's certain heroes in this game that have to be for the lower tier, the bronzies, the silver people. Like, you know, we got to have people that, you know, characters that are able to come in and play, you know, in a sense right away, right? You know, Chimera being one of them, right? Chimera is a pretty easy, like, you know, W key character. Greystone's going to be, well, we don't know. Maybe this kit's going to change, but Greystone, as we know, Greystone is one of those characters that you can come in and just jump right in and just W key in that situation. And the kit's a little easier to operate. And I think that's kind of where FaZe is at in that situation. And I do agree with you. Those numbers can obviously be hella skewed, and you need to. That's where the balancing comes in, right? You balance it to where you don't have that issue in those situations, and then you're not getting. She was like that in Fault for a little bit, right? You had it to, but it's like, oh my gosh, she's just too fucking strong right now. Like, and you had to bring her healing down and stuff like that. There certain things changed for sure. But
that's my least favorite argument that people make.
But it's there. It's there. But you can't, but you say the reason that's your least favorite argument is because you're one of the top players in the game, right? You play in the top 100. That it does matter because you are the minority of this game. This game is not going to survive on you top 100 players.
50 players are a minority too. Why cater to
the bottom 50? What do you mean the bottom 50? If this game is going to survive, it's going to be a lot more than 50. Right? We're talking about this game surviving. We're not talking about...
Bearded, my point is, if you have a top 100 leaderboard, you have a bottom 100 leaderboard, right? So you're saying that my opinion doesn't count because I'm on the top 100.
The bottom 100 is not a leaderboard. I don't know if you know what the word lead means. It's not, you're not leading down there.
You're leading the bottom.
No,
the point being, there are ends of the spectrum, and right now you're saying cater to the bottom because they suck.
No, I'm saying you cater to the bottom because they are the majority of your player base.
My point is that
can't cater to 100 people. That's it, right? If you right now you have Stream DB, right? You got 1,000 people playing, right? Within the 24-hour peak, right? Well, 1,000 people playing. All right, that is you guys are what 10% of that? Like we're talking about 90%. Like that was your least favorite argument, but with 90% of the people in this game need heroes like that to be able to play and have a good time.
I disagree that they are needed. Okay.
Oh, it's definitely needed.
Wait. So you disagree that we don't need that? Wait. So you disagree with the idea of having simple kits? Or
he said that's his. Kits? He said it's his least favorite argument. He doesn't like the argument.
The argument is that you need easy characters in a game because not everyone is really, really good. All right, that's the argument that I dislike. And the reason is that if a kit is hard and it's you know like let's say there's not really a good example in Predecessor like
Severog Severog stacking is not easy.
Easiest fucking character in the game.
He is not the easiest character.
You're hit by pressing Q, and his abilities are brain dead.
No, his stacking
circle and
his stacking is not. Again, don't stop thinking it with your I'm good at this game mentality. Think of this as somebody that is not good at this game and how that is. Getting that, I'm telling you, I play Severog. Go back. I'll open up one of my VODs and I'll let you watch me play Severog. I'm not fucking good at it.
Well, no, I agree. So what? Okay,
call me brain dead all you want. It's not easy.
Wolverine.
Because okay, so Severog. Okay, so like Severog abilities are straightforward, but like to make use of his passive, you need to know how to like set up the wave to last hit with your kill. like, I mean, to us at this point, that is a very like well-established kind of mechanic we got used to. But for someone brand new to MOBAs, they're like, what is last hitting in the first place? At that, like, when I remember when I first played League for the first time, I struggle a lot with like last hitting. Like, that's the kind of mechanic I have to learn over time how to do, kind of thing. And so like now you put that mechanic on like last hit on the abilities, right? It's
So, but what are you missing? Like, let's say you don't get a single stack on Severog for the entire game. What is it that you're missing? Like 400 health?
I did not say that. I didn't say.
Right?
I didn't.
Is it 2 health per stack?
Well,
like 2 health per stack.
It's something like that, but I think
which is 200. If you can get to 200 stacks, that's 400 health plus like 400 bonus health from the different like levels that you hit, right? It's like 800 health late game that you're missing, right? Like, yes, is that a lot?
You're missing your Q damage also as well.
Yeah, you are. But guess what you can still do? You can still press E and then ult the entire enemy team, and his kit doesn't actually change if you don't have any stacks. And his kit itself, my point is that it's very easy. Yes, does he have one like thing that you can do? Yes, he does. You can last hit, and it gives you more stats.
So if you say Severog is easy, then what works? Someone that you just use your face on the keyboard and play, like
that hurts.
I want to know what you're drawing.
That hurts, Joe.
What's no, I didn't mean like that. But what I'm trying to say, you're saying Severog's an easy character, but what are you comparing that to, and what do you consider as a hard character? What I'm curious about.
Well, so yeah, I just don't think, like, if you look at Dare was saying it earlier. He said, did he say, Sev might be hard compared to Paragon kits, but he's not compared to anything in like other MOBAs, right? Like that's sort of my point. Like, in this game, is that stack mechanic comparatively difficult? Yes, I think that says more about the rest of the game than it does about the stack mechanic. Like, to me, that the idea that you have to last hit to stack up a passive is not like it doesn't really add anything to the character. Like, you're already playing him in solo lane, you're already just literally farming minions for the first 20 minutes of the game. Like, even if you don't know what his passive does, like, you're eventually going to accidentally stack him up a bit, you know?
Right, I'm not saying that I can't get stacks. I'm saying for me to get full stack. Like, for me to play Sev and get full. Okay, to get fucking that whatever there's a certain
stacks.
Yeah, the last tier, your full shoulder pads. That's something that I don't do. Like, it doesn't happen. Like, I've had Windu come in my stream, like, as I'm playing, like, he's like, "Where's your shoulder pads at?" I'm like, yeah, I know, believe me. Like, I'm not.
But so if you're playing at, let's say this is ranked, right, and you're playing at gold level where you can't stack up Sev. Like, let's just for the example, let's say you're playing at gold level where you don't know how to stack up Sev shoulders. The rest of the people in that lobby are probably not very good. You probably don't need full Sev shoulder stacks to be able to play in that lobby, right? Like, if they're missing, if you have half the Sev stacks you should, or even a quarter, right? Let's say you have 600 less health. That's like 2 autos from a carry, right? A carry at gold level is going to miss some autos. So, like, realistically, you're doing just fine for your level. I mean, can it be a skill check? Yes. If you're a Grandmaster Severog player that gets every single stack in every lane, are you going to outscale and outdo like a bronze Severog player? Yeah, but you would kill that guy if you had 0 stacks and he had 500 stacks. You know, like, it's just like it can be a skill check, but to me, like, a mechanic like that doesn't actually change the skill ceiling of a character.
I don't know. I just know that there's heroes that I'm able to go in and I can play as, even if I'm bashing my head against keyboard, like Joe says. And then there's heroes that I go in and I'm just not good at. Kira being one of them as of right now. So far, I've got, I go in and play as Kira and I'm not able to do well with her. I don't know if I'm not utilizing her kit the way that as well as I should, or what's going on. But as an ADC main, normally, like, I could go in as Murdock, Drongo, Revenant, and have no issues. And I go in as Kira, and I'm not able to win that match no matter what I do. So there's just certain heroes that like I'm able to play as. There's certain heroes that I'm not able to play as. So it's like that's where we're at.
But that's like that's the argument. Have you seen the argument that is, what is it? I'm trying to think of the actual original argument, but the one that I can remember is from D&D, right? People see me teleport and say he can't afford a horse, right? Have you heard that argument?
No.
You don't know what I'm talking about? Okay,
I have no
the
clue.
point is, the idea is like I'm playing Call of Duty and I can't aim, but it's because the gun I'm playing with is bad. So like, if you, let's say Bearded, if you can't aim, Kira's going to be kind of tough because she has the primary way her damage is dealt is from left click and right click, right? Murdock doesn't have to aim his right click because it's a giant cone in front of him. Revenant has auto aim abilities. Drongo is a little bit better, I guess, but you have an ultimate that gets you out for free, right? So like, my point is like, people will actually just be bad at the mechanics of a game and blame like characters, if that makes sense. If you can't aim, no character in this game is going to be good for you,
right? But I mean, like that's I understand what you're saying, but I think that's where the heroes are in that situation. Like you don't have to aim to play as Greystone.
Correct, I guess.
Right.
I mean, so if you have to aim.
I mean, but as I'm saying, like it's like your aim can be a little bit off, and you're still gonna get your hits like as Greystone. You don't really have to aim to play as Grux, right? So there's heroes in this game that you don't really have to like crazy aim to be able to play how you want to play, right? You can still, you don't, if you can't aim, your aim is really that bad, then obviously ADC is not meant for you because that's really what they're supposed to be doing, right? So you go on and you play other characters, whoever that might be. Dropping a Gideon rock, your aim can be a little off and you're still going to hit the hero that you want to hit because it's a huge fucking rock that you're dropping down, right?
Yeah, but I mean, like if you watch someone who knows how to walk around a fight as a melee character and they're 1v1ing another melee character, you will watch that lesser person miss autos. Like it is like people that are good at movement.
But that you're talking about higher tier gameplay here again, right? That's a different situation. This whole conversation is lower tier gameplay is what we're talking about.
If I'm bronze and I'm playing,
you don't even know what bronze feels like. You have no clue what bronze feels like. You were bronze 20 years ago, maybe. Like, come on.
I have 4 bronze teammates on my team every game. I get to spectate bronze for 20 minutes a day, man.
That doesn't mean you know what it feels like. Watching somebody play as bronze and actually playing bronze is different. You don't know the feel of that.
You can't aim. You can't play any characters in this game.
I disagree with you.
The character's fault.
I completely disagree with you.
That has lock-on auto attacks. Because it's easy enough for lower.
That's what Greystone is. Literally, just move forward and swing. Like that's it.
It's not. No.
Yes. What is Greystone? What are you aiming with Greystone?
I mean, you have to look at people. He has cleave damage. If someone else is standing there and you're hitting the other person, it's cleave damage.
If you're running away from somebody and swinging, then you're just blind. If you're blind, then yeah, you're right. You can't play the game. That's a different situation. All right, we're talking about people like, hey, all right, I fuck, I just missed my minion. Fuck, I just missed my, and you're like literally peppering around the minion's head. That's somebody who can't aim, right? But they're still shooting in the direction of the minion. As a Greystone, you're literally shooting in the direction, or you're swinging in the direction of the minion or the person in front of you. Like you don't have to aim. It's literally, you're right. He's got cleave. You don't have to aim. He's gonna hit something.
I understand your argument, right? But like, then maybe you just shouldn't play carry.
What I said.
But in a bronze match, someone has to play carry.
Right, and there's going to be somebody that's bronze level that can somewhat aim is going to be the ADC, and the other person is going to play a character, but you're going to have characters like Greystone and Grux. You don't really technically have to aim.
Yeah, you're
in
just
that situation.
All the melee characters.
That's what they are.
Take 0 skill. That's what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying. There's still skill. You still need to know how to use the kit, like a Greystone or a Grux situation. Using his kit and timing his knockup and timing his pull, and there's things you can do with him. Like it's
bronze.
not.
They don't know how to do that. Haven't you played at bronze?
I have. That's where I've been my whole life. I know how this is. Like, that's the same. You sit there and you're talking to, like, hey, I'm talking about my perch. I don't know anything you guys are doing right now. We've just been shitting on you the whole time. That's what you can't look at it at the top tier view at all times. All right, but before we get too far down this roll, Ray asked a question and I want to bring that up. Do you see anything wrong with making characters like Severog more difficult / specialized via making the stacking mechanic more important and meaningful to execute to be a good Sev, or do you think it should be less important to stack his passive and still be able to function well as the hero? Ray, how I feel about it personally, I think stacking for Sev is like it's his, like that's his identity, right? If you stacking as a Sev is his identity. So I think you need to find a good balance with that. I think you need it to be like, I think Pred has a good balance with it. I think Pred has a good spot. Like you want, if you don't have stacks as a Sev, it hurts you as a tank, right? But you still have the kit in there that you're able to use to help your team, right? You can root somebody down, then you can also displace them and knock them away off your carry or whatever when in team fights and stuff like that, or knock them into your carry in team fights. Certain situations you have the kit to do things, right? But to be that frontline tank, if you don't stack, it's a lot harder to do that. So I think so it makes his stacks really important, but not like too bearable important. And I think you just got to find that balance. But if you make it to like, hey, if you don't have stacks, you're trash, then that's it. That's what it is, right? And me personally, I attack myself in that situation to where like I know that I'm not getting full stacks, so I'm calling myself trash as playing as a Sev. But I mean, in like what Pinzo's saying, in a bronze lobby, I'm still okay in that situation. But I just know that there's a better spot. Like I can get better, I can improve, and this is where I want to be, right? And I think that's where most of us bronze people should be. We should be like, hey, this is where I'm at, and there's a better way to play this. How do I get to that point? And you should be able to have heroes where you can play them, and maybe you're not playing them to the greatest situation, but you're still able to play them and have fun with them. But if every hero was hard to play, and you weren't able to use the skill shots that Pinzo wants them to have, then that's where it's like it's going to be you're going to have a huge drop off. That bronze is just going to drop out, and then you're only going to have a minuscule amount of players playing this game because they're the ones that actually able to have fun with the heroes that they're using.
Yeah, I'm with you right there, Beer, the 100%. I feel like it's totally fine to have heroes that are hard for bronze players to get into, but something eventually experienced players can pick up, kind of thing. You see it all the time at the MOBAs, like League of Legends. You see certain heroes being very meta and like gold elo, and then they drop off and they're replaced by more higher skill, but really good champions and high. Yeah. So I think that's totally fine. I
mean, Chimera was that. I mean, from what I remember, Chimera was that for in Paragon, original Paragon. You had in bronze lobbies, he was a pub stomper, right? And then in silver and gold, once you kind of figure out how to counter him, kind of fell off. Mm-hmm. But as I hear, because it wasn't me, I'm telling you right now, as I hear, you get higher in the top tier, like people, good Kai players were able to play him. If you are able to play as them, that's you're just good with them, right? So, you have that.
I agree that there are always going to be characters that are better at low levels versus high levels, right? And vice versa. There are going to be characters that are only good at Grandmaster or whatever the top rank is, right?
Yeah.
To me, I just don't think you have to make like a simple kit, something that's easy for a bronze player to understand. I don't think that has to be like I don't know, like boring almost. Like I would call Sev's kit boring, even if the stacks are sort of what you would call like hard or a skill check, right? Like that's sort of what it is. Like his kit's kind of boring, right? Like I don't think simple has to be, or I guess I don't think that like a simple kit has to be either easy or boring.
I have to disagree. I don't think Severog's kit is boring at all.
I mean,
like, can you tell me, like, you know his ultimate, how it can knock people away? I mean, that alone has a lot.
His ult is okay. His ult is by far the coolest part of his kit. All right.
Yeah, it is, and I mean that ultimately has a lot of different implications of what you can do with it, right? I mean, and so are you saying like his basic ability is bowling, like his Q is bowling?
I think it's just maybe a little basic, right? I mean, it's cone that does damage, circle that roots and does damage, dash that does nothing. And then his ult is a cool dash.
All of them like combine well into a really solid kit. Like the whole kit plays into each other kind of thing, right? Like you have to root someone. The classic combo is root someone with circle, then R&B dash behind them and knock them into your enemy team. That's like the bread and butter combo Severog kind of thing.
Yeah, no.
So like individually, it can be straightforward basic abilities, but when you combine them, that's where things can get really interesting with Severog, right?
Yeah, no, and I understand that like there are combos he can do, right?
And
like,
you can look at Crunch. Like you look at Crunch's abilities by itself, it's very basic, right? A Q that does damage, an E that does less damage and slow, and R&B that dash, and then the X repeats that. But there's a whole combo system with Crunch playing around your empower abilities to do certain things you want to accomplish in a fight. So it's simple abilities coming together to have a interesting gameplay loop.
I think that the difference between Crunch and Severog, and I think that's a good thing to bring up, is that Crunch's passive, reducing his ability cooldowns when you land autos, adds to his kit. Like it really does. It gives your abilities. Yeah. But Severog's doesn't. Severog's adds stats to his kit. That is it. It does not. Imagine this. Just imagine this for a sec. What if Severog, his E, it only slowed until you got 100 stacks, and then it gained a root? Right? That's something that his passive is evolving, right? That's what his passive is. It's evolving from gaining stacks. So why don't his abilities evolve from gaining stacks? What if his ultimate gained 5% push distance for every 50 stacks or 20 stacks or 30 stacks? You know, what if his kit actually evolved with his evolving passive, right?
See,
like that's my point.
Now, I like that. Right now, that is taking a 2016 kit and making it a 2023 kit. You're keeping his kit. That is Severog. That you're not. Hey, Severog no longer has a root. He now has this ability, whatever it may be. Pull it out of the ether, right? And it's just not what we know as Severog. You're keeping his kit. You're keeping. Hey, it's still the siphon. Right? Or the siphon's the hand, right? So it's still the siphon, but it's still the, hey, I'm gonna drop this ring down, but if you're in this ring, you're slowing, but if you get the stacks, right, you could do that. Now the issue is with that, I like that idea. That's all about that. You keep his kit, but you make it 2023. I'm all about that. That's cool. But the issue I have with that is going back to the us bronzers here and be like, that just makes it even harder. Like now you're making me feel even worse for not being able to stack. Now, if you did that, you would have to make, in my opinion, as a bronzer, you would have to make stacking easier. Right?
And I see where you're coming from, because what Horatio just brought up in chat is Mulan. Mulan is a character in Smite. That's her passive is essentially what Sev's is like what Sev's kind of wishes it was. Mulan's passive is each of her basic abilities, or 3 basic abilities, they level up as you deal damage with them. So you can deal damage to minions, you can deal damage to enemy gods, and then they level up. They have like 4 stages throughout the match where her second ability at level 2 it heals you, and then at level 3 it hits twice. And then at level 4, it reduces protections, I believe, when it hits, right? Okay. And like that kind of thing, where it actually evolves. But again, you can do it by damaging minions, right? You don't have to last hit. So like I would be okay with making his stacking easier if it did more things for his kit.
Yeah. But by doing that, though, by you agreeing with that, you're now making Sev even better in higher tier lobbies, right?
Not necessarily. Well, I mean, like you get him a little faster, but I don't think it necessarily makes him straight up better.
Well, like if you want to do like, that's a cool idea actually, but if you want to do that, then that means you have to relook and rebalance Severog throughout the entire game. Yeah. Because does that mean that are you going to compensate by giving more stats early on? Because like now you can't move with the E, or that means you have less potential to sub combos or kill, right? So if you want to locked behind certain ability strengths behind like how many stacks you have, then how are you gonna make his late game even more deadlier and his early game is really bad, or how is that gonna go about?
Sure. Like in Smite, again, Mulan's sort of the comparison here. Mulan sucks until like level 8. She's really bad. And then from like level 8 to like level 16, she's really strong.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think that's a bad thing to have a character that has a power spike. I don't think that's a bad thing. Faye is really strong when you hit level 6, because when you hit level 6, cleanses aren't online yet. Right? So if you know someone has a blink down, that's a free ultimate for you, right? Rotating dual lane with level 6 Faye and getting a double kill and then going straight to Fangtooth. It's a really big power spike that this character has that you're playing around. I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. All right, so let me catch up on chat here real quick. Sorry. Ray says, if I had my way, I would argue, go talk about the Sev, what he talked about earlier. I would argue he could find more identity in being this unique hero that is all about maximizing the stacks to emerge as a demon Severog after 20 minutes of farming well. And that's cool. That's a cool aspiration to work towards, and a unique loop exclusive to Severog. But I'm conscious of how less skilled players would feel where the hero is dog if you want to, if you can't min-max these stacks and execute on them compared to Greystone, who can function well regardless. So great point by Ray.
Yeah.
So I think something along the lines of what Pinzo's saying would definitely counter that in that situation. I think that would be a good way to do it.
Well, and Ray even says it here, like if he's harder to execute on compared to something like a Greystone, maybe you don't see Severog played until Plat or Diamond. Maybe Greystone is just better at Bronze, Silver, Gold, right? And then you can kind of evolve to learn how to play this more difficult character at the higher ranks.
Right. And that's where I'm at, and that's where I'm okay with, and that's kind of the argument I was making with FaZe being that situation. Like you're gonna have characters that are just gonna be a Bronze, Silver, Gold character, and that's just where they're gonna play, right? And then you're gonna have people that are gonna grow from that and start playing the other ones. It's the same thing. Pinzo, I know you play Paladins, right? When you when you go to the hero screen on Paladins, you can see on there at one, some of them say easy, some say medium, some say hard, whatever. And it just kind of shows you the skill difficulty of that hero, of what they're going to be, right? So if you're just learning the game, you're going to want to click on one of the easy ones. Play this one as an easy character. You're not going to jump in there and just understand the hard ones right away. And it's just that similar situation. You're going to have those heroes that just need to be that situation. So having heroes in Paragon or in Predecessor having a skill shot, some of them having a skill shot. I agree with you. Revenant having almost all skill shots or having all locked on shots is a bit cheese in that situation. Like, take some of his lock on and make it a skill shot. I'm okay with that, right? Having his what is it?
Scar.
Yeah, having his scar, make that one be a little more like not a lock on. Like literally have to, actually aim it and hit it.
Toss it at someone.
Right. A lot like Akira's R&B, right? You can literally shoot that anywhere you want, right? You're not gonna, you literally have to aim it at somebody and you got to land it, right? So have a little line show like, hey, this is as far as it's gonna go. You gotta shoot it in the direction, and hopefully it hits that person. Have that be an ability like that. I'm okay with that. Like you're not changing his kit, right? You're not taking the scar away. I like his scar and what it does, but it doesn't have to be a lock on. Not every kit has to be a lock on in that situation, but some things like a phase link, a lock on is just kind of it has to be that. Making that a skill shot just puts her too high up, and she's not that much of her support hero is not that big of like, hey, she's this top tier support already. Like a balance needs to come in with that.
Yeah, I just like what if Revenant, his Q, right, his obliterate, he kind of just barfs out a bunch of missiles that all go at someone, right?
Right.
What if he had like his auto attack marked someone for 5 seconds and then they would get hit by his Q, right?
I think that's I think
Like, you have to aim an ability. You have to aim something. You still have to aim an auto to hit them, and now you can lock on.
Right. But the thing is, right now with his obliterate, it literally hits whatever's in the cone. Right.
No, I agree. Like that's
so that's what I'm saying. If now
the issue with that,
so now if I hit you, if I shoot you with my auto, now all here you take all of my obliterate, and now also obliterate's just too strong. Right.
Well, but then again, like, right, if it comes up in the middle of a fight and you've shot 3 people in the last 4 seconds,
it's the last one.
Now it spreads out, right? So
okay, well, possibly, but I mean, in the duo lane, you're not really gonna be shooting.
Yeah.
That's more
a lane bully in the duo lane.
Right, but I'm saying, like, you right now having you playing defensively against a Revenant, you know that you can play within your minion wave, and the obliterates your minions are going to take a lot of that damage, right?
Yeah. But I understand. I just like I feel
that's that counter to that.
No, it is. I just feel like there are ways to make some of the things that are lock-ons, like even if they are lock-ons, like. What if phases pull it? You can attach it to someone at half the distance that you can pull them from, right? So like if you hit them with it, it's auto, it's click to lock on, but then they have to be half of auto range for you to latch them, but then they can get further away. So that if someone gets pulled all the way into their backline, you can't instantly latch to them and then pull them back.
Well, it is that way. It is that way. You at least it was. That's the way it was in Fault.
I only know
that's how it works in
Overprime.
That's how it was in Fault. I don't know how it was in Paragon because I don't remember the exact numbers. But I do know in Fault, like you were just outside of. You were able to land it. Like I think just at like range a range auto attack range. Like that's where you could land it. And they were able to once you landed it, they were able to extend a little bit further. And then and once they got out of range, they would detach it, right?
Okay.
And so you had that, like you can't, like if they were too far away, you're not able to lock it. You have to get close enough to grab that lock on, and then they're able to extend a little further. It's basically kind of like a bungee. It'll stretch further than that, but you got to make that connection first before you get that.
Yeah, and that makes sense. It's just like to me, if something's going to be auto locked, to me it needs another restriction, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Well, like technically, I'm trying to remember back in Paragon phase. I think there was a way you can break a phase tether. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Like if you like hard CC'd her, did it break?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm trying to remember if that mechanic was in.
Zeladry said it was like auto range and OG as well.
Be really cool. That'd be really cool if you could chain CC phase and it would break it. Boom, that's sweet because that's a counterplay. If your Richter hooks the carry and your Rampage stuns the phase and breaks the tether, now their carry doesn't have a way out, right? Like something like that. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm trying to look to the wiki of Phase's old kit. It doesn't say anything about the link being broken under any condition.
I do know
it's been so long since I last played Phase Paragon, so I don't.
I do know that if you pull the carry as a Richter, if your pull, like if you land it like at distance, whatever the distance may be, whatever you pull it, and you're able to pull them far enough to where the tether would break. Like if they extend that'll break the tether. You do have that ability. Like if
Yeah, which makes sense that it's ranged. That's a Sorry guys, I really appreciate that. I actually have to go. I got scrims tonight, so I do have to run.
All good,
unfortunately. But
all good. Real quick before you go.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? I mean, make it as quick as you can. Your thoughts on the game kind of being dry right now?
Yeah, I haven't really played Pred like solo queue outside of stream. Like I only really play when I'm streaming and scrimming because right now that's really when it's fun. Like in solo queue, you just kind of get run over by carries. Like I don't really like playing carry simulator. So it's definitely a little stale. I mean, looking at the player numbers, a lot of people feel the same way as well, obviously. So
sure.
I definitely, I think it's something that needs looked at, but I also think it's just something that will help like whenever we get balance / game changes, right? Like it's stale. I think that's the best word.
There you go. All right.
So
okay.
I appreciate you having me, Bearded.
Hey, thanks for coming. I appreciate you hanging out.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
Anytime. So yeah, I appreciate it. I got to dip. I will talk to you guys later.
Later, bud. All right.
Peace.
I could look
so, again, thanks Pinzo for stopping by, hanging out with us and having great conversation. That was definitely a good one. But let's use that time as a pivot point here, Joe, or Joey. Sorry, I know you prefer that. Let's use it to pivot to that exact conversation. To you, Joey, is the game getting stale to you at all? That's what Pinzo called it. I was calling dry, but stale might be the word. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think the last week or two has been a little stale, but I mean, that's kind of common in terms of like the end of the season, like end of Overwatch season, end of League of Legends season. Everything starts to slow down while the devs are trying to make the big preparation finishing touches on the new season. So you can't even see it too. Like, I think throughout early access, they've been very kind of active with bringing the news and all the blog posts and stuff on Twitter. But it seems like everything got really quiet recently. And I think it's just the end of the season. I think they're just trying to focus on getting the season 2 like big patch ready for us kind of thing. So yeah, I think the game's a little kind of stale right now, but it's okay. I think it's only just temporarily until this update next Tuesday kind of thing. Yeah,
I mean, I wasn't gonna jump on the bandwagon and just like start freaking out about it, saying whatever. But like, as everybody here knows, or if you don't know, I was huge into Fault. Right, Fault was one of my favorite games I played. I literally played it for the 2 years it was open, like nonstop. I would have friends that would jump on, hey, we're gonna play this, the Phasmophobia or whatever was hot at the time, Fall Guys, whatever, all that shit. We're gonna play this, we're gonna play that, and I would just continue to play Fault. Like, I had no issues playing it day in, day out. And with Pred, it hasn't even been 2 years that it's been out yet, and I'm getting to a point. I got to a point last night that I was like, hey, I lit up stream and I played Paladins. And I started thinking about, like, wait a minute. Now, I don't know if it's a combination of, this was probably what it is, right? The fact that I did play Fault for so long, and Predecessor being similar to Fault in that situation, right? It'd be different if I, like, let's say Paragon the Overprime, which the game is really different from what Fault is and what Predecessor is. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's like, I'm playing these games that are almost very similar in what they're doing. So I'm just kind of getting a little like, I'm a little tired of what I've been playing these games nonstop. So I needed something a little different to play.
Yeah, but I think right now it's just also, you gotta also remember that there's a early access game. Remember the last live stream we talked about what was on wish list, and what my wish list is like, hey, I want to see hero masteries or forms of permanent progression. That's like one aspect of why you're feeling burnt out, because there's really no reason to keep grinding out, because if you already reached the level 50, then you'll lock everything for the season. There's no hero masteries. There's no cool like permanent progression working towards for like a certain character, right? There's just none of that in the game right now.
There is, though. If you continue every 10 levels, right? So if you got to level 60, you got another 300, what's it called? Platinum, right? And the more platinum you get, then you can get the more skins you can get. Now, the issue with that is their skins are epic skins. They've yet to show any IP skins, right? Besides their one Kira skin, right? That's their only IP skin they have, and that's kind of somewhat of a recolor. So it's not really that much of a big skin in that situation. So the one skin that we're gonna get that's from the roadmap, but we don't know when we're gonna get that, is the other Kira skin, right? It's not technically a recolor, but it still does not anything that's like, oh my gosh, I gotta grind for this, right? Because you already get it with the roadmap by unlocking it. So then you have getting more platinum and you're not showing any of your like cool IP skins. That's another issue that people don't want to, like, hey, what's the point of me grinding for that to get level 60 to unlock the extra 300 platinum?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, it's still very bare bones progression, like only grinding to get a little extra like currency. That's not like a good long-term thing. Like, you look at Halo Infinite, when they try to got rid of all the challenges, got rid of everything that makes Halo, and then you make the only form of progression behind a battle pass system. You got people just lose interest big time in that game because that form of progression was just not good or satisfying at all. So I guess what I'm trying to say is one reason for sure that you feel burnt out is like the soul cycle of the patch, but also there's no really interesting progression you can be making. There's no last minute like rank matches you can be grinding for. There's no like getting that last tier to get that mastery skin on a hero kind of thing. There's like really none of that kind of thing.
Right.
So
I think with that comment, I think in season 2, a hero mastery system would be huge.
Yeah,
in this situation of keeping people wanting to grind.
It's like, because I think even in season 1 roadmap, I feel like they made some mention of hero masteries to say we know people want it, but it's not ready yet in this season.
Right.
So part of me really hope that it's ready for season 2, because you already got people kind of slowly dwindling down because the kind of initial hype is a little over. Now you got people playing the game because they really enjoy playing the game. So it's really important that at this point in the game, especially with no real way to bring in new players, except maybe make it a console early access release, you gotta make sure you gotta really try and retain that player base you already have, kind of thing, before you make that big launch for free to play. And I think a lot of people will be interested in grinding out the game over time if there's hero masteries or just long-term progression to work towards too. So if you imagine now season 2, like imagine season 2 is the same thing. Like your profile level is just gonna reset at the end of the season. There's no hero masteries to grind for. I think a lot more people are gonna get kind of fed up with the game even earlier. Not fed up, but rather they're gonna get burned out even faster.
Burned out, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like having a really good progression system can help prevent burnout from happening too soon. Because I think if you play a base burnout too quickly in right middle of the season, then that's going to be really hard to kind of get some good stuff going for what's after season 2 kind of thing.
Right. Nervelime says they should allow us to grind. Sorry, I went away. Allowed us to grind for the hero icons to use as our profile icons. That's not a bad idea, actually, Nervelime. I think that would be something cool. You could use a hero icon, as your avatar. So, paid EA, at the beginning of EA, paid EA, this game was basically an alpha compared to any paid EA that comes out in the last couple of years. And that is true, Big Doink. Like, this game was pretty bare bones when it came out as a paid EA. So there's definitely a lot to be in there to go on. Of course you're awake. Ray, I haven't even read it yet, so we'll see how it goes. Ray says, what is it that holds you back from feeling the urge to log in and hop in a game of Pred? If the game is fun, such deep enough, does it not stand reason that you don't need to rely on progression like many games such as StarCraft, Smash, Dota, etc. have shown in the past? What is missing for you if you had to say? That is a great question, Ray. What is it that it is? I
can sort of answer that question just for myself.
Go ahead.
Because I really think that Pred does have a very fun gameplay loop kind of thing. I bring up progression because it can help prevent like burnout, or rather it can make playing the gameplay loop even more satisfying, right? But for me personally, if there's one thing I really wish the game has, but it's not ready for, it's a casual game mode. Like you look at League of Legends. Are you familiar with ARAM from League of Legends?
Oh, I know what ARAM is. Yeah, we played it all the time in fall.
You look at the stats and you see a huge player base that only plays ARAM in League of Legends.
Yeah, that's
a MOBA that's the most competitive MOBA out there. But then you have a large player base only playing the casual version of it, kind of thing.
Right.
And for me, like, I think there's ways you can have like a lot of casual fun and like kind of like a 5v5 environment, but it's always going to be some form of inherent like competitiveness to it, especially since it's not like ranked mode, right? So it's kind of hard for me to do like a not bad jungle without running into 6 jungle on the enemy team, and I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm not having fun this game, kind of thing, right?
Right.
So I mean, for me, like whenever I want to just turn off my brain and have fun, then ARAM from like League of Legends is like the perfect game mode for that. And I would love to see that in Predecessor 2, where sometimes, hey, I don't want to play 5v5, or I don't want people to expect me to carry the game when I'm trying to play a off-meta pick in the off-lane, right? I try to do that, and then people got upset, kind of thing. So I kind of want just a game mode where I can just really just have fun, like kind of thing. And it's just right now, we're just not wait for it yet, because you will have a small player base. If you had a next second game mode, you're going to just further split apart that player base even more, kind of thing.
Agreed. All right, so I'm going to answer Ray's question, and then I'm going to reply to Big Doink here in a second. My answer to Ray's question is the fact that right now the game, Pred right now is a bunch of ranked matches. in you're playing, even though there's no rank, because there's no ranked, everybody's playing ranked in Pred in a casual game mode, right? So then you have no way to go in and play a casual match. So I guess somewhat similar to what Joe was saying is, I'm gonna go play ARAM. I just want to go kind of relax. I want to go play, like, there's no way to go and relax. You just have that one situation. And so I think that's what it is so you just kind of keep doing that same thing over and over and over and over again, and you have no way of just going and relaxing somewhere. That's the biggest reason I would say with that.
There's no way to be decompressed, kind of thing. Like, you want to decompress and play Predecessor after work, but it's hard to do that sometimes when you get in a very sweaty lobby and you're like getting steamrolled because you're trying to just kind of decompress, right?
Yep.
So it's also just the fact that I think it refreshes the gameplay loop is when you have a different game mode you can hop onto, it can kind of make it more refreshing, I guess, instead of like the same game mode like every single day for like months on end kind of thing, right?
For sure. And Big Doink says, I literally hope a meta can duplicate Joust from Smite, a 3v3, one lane, half jungle. It's absolutely necessary in this day and age, in my opinion.
Not gonna. Oh, sorry, what are you gonna say?
Big Doink. Now, this is what I said when I first, with me being a partner, I was able to go into the game beforehand and see some things, and I was able to see their practice map. Their practice map is literally a Joust map, in my opinion. Like, that's perfect for Joust. You got a core on both ends, you got towers in both ends, you literally have one lane, and you have a half jungle on one side. Like, that is perfect. Make that be the Joust map, and you could do it. It's there. It's already has everything into it. So I agree with you, and I would love to see it. What were you gonna say, Joe?
Oh, no, I was gonna say Smite with Joust is a really good example, because when I played Smite for a while after Paragon shut down, I think a majority of my games was on Joust only. Like, I never touched really the 5v5 or even the ARAM, and then I only play like Joust. Like 70% of my games is Joust from Smite, and that's because it's just so much fun, like the gameplay loop in that one. And just about so, like, I think it's gonna be the same thing too when you have like a similar game mode for Predecessor. You're gonna have new players come on, and they're only gonna play the ARAM or Joust and Predecessor, but that's just a really, really fun casual gameplay loop for them, kind of thing. It still feels so like a MOBA. You're playing through you got team fight combo, all that stuff, but it's just a more like laid back, or right? It's a more environment that makes the gameplay a little bit not too competitive, I guess I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no. Real quick, Lokan says, what are your thoughts on Pred needing to have tutorials on builds and how to build the items first? I hear so many cases where people are building wrong or build the wrong items in the wrong order or any other reason. I think that's more right now. I think the devs need to focus mainly on the game itself and gameplay itself, and work on that. And I think that's more on the community to make those videos. I know my boy Joe here makes some good videos on there. Crashy makes good videos. Windu makes good videos. And then that's on the community to go to the YouTube page and find those videos on how to create, certain builds and where to put them. There's a lot of good content creators out there making content, and that's where the community just needs to go there and find those. In this time, I think later on, when we're talking closer more to full release, then the devs can focus more on that situation. But right now, the game itself is more on the focus and that tutorial of how and when to build items. Now, a tutorial for the game, that's a different situation. And then Lance Chesticle says, what are your opinions on map? Do you think the game would benefit from a 5 to 10% increase in size? I find there's next to no punishment for backing if you know how to time it. Lance Chesticle, we talked about that last episode, and right now we don't think that's going to be in the season 2. But some of us did agree that the size of the width of the map does need to change, because you're talking about backing, so you're talking about core to core. I was talking about river, from side lane to side lane need to be expanded. Like river, the length of the river need to be extended, because rotating time is actually pretty short. Dr. Bone Wizard, first, thanks for that sub on the Prime. Glad you're to make it to live. I don't think Pred is the game to decompress with. I don't think a MOBA is a decompress game. I don't think a 3-lane tower defense MOBA is decompressed, but I do think playing a MOBA like an ARAM like you have in League of Legends, or playing a Joust like you have in Smite, playing those certain modes is a decompressed mode. I think those are games that you can do it in that situation.
I actually just replied to him and I say the exact thing as you.
Okay. And I feel it just free. Give me there. Okay. All right. I say, hey, no problem. Look on. I'll watch the VOD. Yeah. It's on. It's Windu the Mace's channel, episode 20. Windu the Mace's YouTube channel. Lance Jessicos. I brought it up. It wasn't a great in-depth conversation, but it's on that one. You said that. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. I enjoy the game. The game loop itself, I really enjoy. I think it's there. I think it's good. I think there's just certain things that it's missing, that needs to get worked on. Time to kill. The time to kill in the next patch, not next patch. The next patches that are coming up is going to fix that situation. Also, all right. Maybe in women's college basketball, but I mean, anything else we beat you. But anyways, I think that the time to kill is going to help with. I paused. It's going to help us enjoy the game more. It's going to be more of a quality of life situation, and I think it's going to. It's going to keep me playing more often once that time to kill actually gets fixed. Because even as an ADC main, right, a short time to kill just doesn't make your kill feel that beneficial, right? Making you work for that kill and then you securing that kill, working for that kill, securing that kill, and then also possibly getting a penta out of a longer time to kill. It just makes it more worth it, and you feel like you actually did something in that situation. Wrestling, yes, wrestling. I'm not gonna bash you. Why would I bash you, Shark? But if they had ARAM mode, I'm a run carry. Well, the thing is ARAM, right? So it's all random, all mid. So it's random. You don't get to pick your character. It's all randomized, Shark. So. I actually, in Fault, when I did ARAMs, I used to hold ARAMs every Tuesday. I used to hold ARAMs, and I did pretty good with Decker. And Red's Decker would do really good in ARAMs.
100%.
She would do really good in ARAMs. That would be insane. Like, Pred's Decker would do so good in ARAMs, they would nerf her because of ARAMs. Like, hey, we got to bring Decker down, guys.
And that's the thing, like in League of Legends ARAMs, some heroes get buffs or nerfs depending on how good they are in that game modes. I think I'm trying to think, going through my head all the different heroes. Like, imagine the Predecessor heroes in ARAM. Someone like Severog will feel really bad because you can never like build up your stacks because you have 5 enemies shooting at you, and then all your 4 enemies are shooting at anyways. You're like, how are you gonna stack your stacks on Severog, right?
Right.
So it's gonna just make it really interesting. Like that alone just makes it like really interesting gameplay to live. Like having certain heroes just work better or worse. Like they may be really good in 5v5, but they may turn out to be not that great in anyway. Just, I don't know, just
exactly
chicks up the formula a bit.
Right. That pretty much we covered all of our topics. I mean, I don't want to harp on the game being stale in any situation. I mean, that's just kind of where I jumped into it because again, I played Paladins. I haven't opened that game in forever. I played that one, so it kind of made me want to bring that up as a topic. We touched on phase. We touched on time to kill. So we touched all of our topics today. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. So let's do our outros now. Joe, where can they find you? What was your latest video about? And what's going on?
Guys can go find me, Joya Chili, on YouTube. I just do daily stuff on there. So my latest video, I've been just kind of trying to catch up and trying to cover different videos. Right now, my latest video is just a Shinbi video where I try to do a different kind of build. I have a very spicy, I actually have a kind of really spicy new thing tomorrow I'm trying out, where it's going to be kind of a more educational kind of content for you guys. So if you guys are not already subscribed, or subscribe, be on the lookout for my video tomorrow, because it's definitely gonna be something totally new I'm trying out and see how you guys enjoy it.
All right, yeah. So make sure you jump over there, Joe. You literally search him up, Joe. Yours truly. You'll find him on YouTube. Subscribe to him so then you can see that video come up tomorrow. That'll be awesome. I appreciate the show and feedback as always. Hey, thank you, Ray. I appreciate you being here, hanging out. But as for myself, I need to get back on the editing grind. I haven't been able. I went on vacation to Florida, and I haven't opened up DaVinci since I've been back. All right, I've been back since Sunday, and so I haven't opened DaVinci since I've been back. So I need to get back on that and get back to the editing grind. So I haven't had any videos for YouTube yet or TikTok, but we'll get back on that. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you'll find me here live, 7:30 Eastern p.m. And Joey never beat me in off lane. He quit first. All right, easy Ed. All right. But yes, I'll be here live for those times, trying to make content for the YouTube and TikTok. So if you want to see it live and before you see it as an edited version, come hang out here. But other than that, I know Windu's posting content. A Medkit's still in the process of a move. Crashy's been posting content, so you can catch all of them on their YouTube channels. So make sure you give them a subscribe and follow, all that stuff. But on that note, this will be the end of this one, and we'll see you all on the next one. All right, peace.
You guys have a good night.